Welcome back to West Texas View.
It's so much fun to have Cliff Volk back today. He's been here a couple of times to talk about other things, but today I asked him back to talk about some of the things that he's done in his life to meet change and to make change happen in his life. And of course that involves things like goal setting and so on. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is one of the career changes that you've made. So continue talking about how you've made these changes.
Well, you know, I've always been, I've worked in radio and television for years, you know, and
so change of character is a
change of character is actually part of my personality. But you know, making a decision to write this show and actually do it and get the costume and get into it was really kind of scary there at first, because even though I had performed on stage a lot and so on, but the whole goal is to actually take this on the road, not only in the state of Texas, but wherever I can. And it's as you grow older, you cannot discount the fact that it is a little more scary, because you're putting so much more on the line to do this, as opposed if you were, you know, 20 or 25 years old.
And people say, why are you doing this? You know, they almost want to talk you out of it, because they'll say, why are you going to all this trouble? Or, you know, you've got things okay in your life right now. Why are you doing this extra?
Well, it's because it's a passion.
That's
more than
word.
anything else. It's a passion, and it's also something that needs to be done right now. And that's one of the points of feedback, Johnny Lou, I'm getting, is that this is the time to do this. Even though the man has been away from us, deceased for several years. Bill O'Reilly in this Sunday's column wrote about the new movie, the remake of True Grit, and how the two were very similar but yet not, and how he felt, even though Bridges did a wonderful job with the new character, that he felt Wayne really talked to what people need to hear more, and again back to those core values and so on. But it's a huge step, and it's one that you don't take lightly. I mean, I have a young daughter that's 19 years old, and so a lot of years I've been raising her, and so now also, since she's on her own for the most part, this also gives me an opportunity to actually strike out and get in the car and go from one place to another like a vagabond thespian and do it.
But one of the things, though, that, and I know a little bit about your life, is that you, so many things that have happened in your life almost have been leading you to this. And so if you were paying attention and listening to your passions and seeing how you had attracted things to you that were preparing you, for example, you knew John Wayne when you were in Hollywood, and so you have a lot of his actual clothes that he wore in movies, and that's part of your costume. And so all of this comes together, and now you're ready for it.
Well, it's curious, because I think it doesn't. You're right. I think that you work towards something whether you're conscious of it or not, but this is all accumulating toward a particular point when this is the time to do it. Because it wasn't time to do it when I was 40, it wasn't time to do it certainly when I was 20, but now is the time that this needs to happen.
But now is the time, even though it's and for everybody would look at it and say it's time, this is the time when most people begin pulling in and aren't as risk friendly.
Well,
they're more afraid.
And that's when people should take a look at that and say to themselves, I need to take a risk. I need to take a risk, because it's only...
What's the worst thing that can happen to you if it doesn't go? You've had fun.
Yeah, and I can always go back to, you know, my very nice little life here in Midland, Texas, and so on, and continue. But you're right. If it doesn't matter, again, back to that age thing again, how old you are, but and you are an accumulation of all the wealth and knowledge that God gave you, and all the talent that you have. And that's another thing too, is because even though I've been able to utilize my talents in my life, God-given. This one is probably, you know, actors always say, it's a role I was meant to do. It was a role I was born for. So I'm saying to myself, as part of how I'm continuing to believe in it and to do it and to press forward and to reach out, this is a role that I was meant to do. You know.
And one of the things that I know, again, from knowing a little bit about your background is that you are prepared for the obstacles. And one of the obstacles is simply getting known, getting tried and tested. And so that would discourage a lot of people. But you had your plan of action set down in front of you, and you were able to say, it's not going to be an easy thing. It's not going to be an instantaneous thing.
Oh, no, not at all. But, that's all being prepared and prepping your mind to that, because there's going to be pitfalls, and there's going to be, in fact, in talking to people, certainly some of these theatrical agents, well, I've got 2 or 3 guys that do this. Well, how well do they do it? And do they do a complete show? And it says, I don't matter about them because I know I'm the best at doing this.
And do they feel that passion that you
That's
feel?
just it. That is exactly it. And you would be surprised how healthy, mentally and physically, if you put yourself in that situation, if you passionately believe it, it's almost like a rebirth.
I agree with you. I know. And one of the things that I know also, because I've seen your act, and I know how much passion you put into it, and how much fun you have doing it. And that's what, as we age, and I'm considerably older than you, but as we age, we need to put more fun in our lives and give in to that passion more. And I just think that you never get old when you do that.
Mark Twain once said, if we lose our humor, we've lost life.
That's true. That's exactly true. Well, when we come back, I want you to do, you don't have to put on your full regalia, but I thought you might could do some of your mannerisms and maybe just give us a little vignette of some of it. And again, I know that there's other things in your life that you've made steps to take. And someday I want you to come back and just talk about your experiences in Hollywood and the disappointments and the disillusionments. And only those who really have a passion for what they're doing are going to stick. And the rest of them are either going to wash out or whatever. But, one of the things that I wanted to say that goes along with what you were just talking about is, so you're willing to work and take the time to develop it, but so many people say, I want it, and I want it right now, and if I can't have it right now, I don't want it.
Well, that's where maturity comes in.
That's true. That's exactly right. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute and continue this conversation with Cliff Vogue.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.